Morning all. Friday the 5th of April. Going to do a little more instructional, if that's the right word, video to help people get into straight razor shaving. I think I'm trying to encourage people, and I think this is probably the better way. Anyway, just in brief, I'm going to use a Mei Chang. That looks rather nice actually. A Mei Chang soap. I'm going to use a badger brush. Cool, that's a strong aroma, even for me. Anyway, I'm going to use a badger brush. Allow me to show you. This is a Parker badger brush. It smells like dead dog, which is of course what badger brushes are supposed to smell like. Not my favourite, I prefer synthetic, but it was very kindly sent to me by Nicholas Madamba, Jack. And we did a little deal, and he sent me over, hence the experimental shave this morning, he sent me over a rather nice Filly14 Novodur. And I've been very naughty. What I've done is, it didn't have its original case, so I got this nice black case, which I've had in store for some time, and I photocopied another original case. So it's now looking like it's a real case. It's not a real case, but it'll do. Anyway, here is this very nice Filly14. Now the edge on it will be very interesting. I've had a couple of razors from Jack, and I must say his edges are spectacular. Very, very good indeed. This one is an arc finished Ozuku. Now I'm no expert on Jack stones. I do know, however, that Jack does do, pick up my bits of box, does do very good edges. So what we're going to do today is to experiment another experiment. Do love my experiments. This is going to be with the Feather Professional blade in this nice feather stainless steel shavette. We're going to compare that to a proper razor. My argument being, it's better possibly as an entry into straight razor shaving to use at least something that looks like and feels like a proper straight razor. These actually shave extremely well. They're a wonderful, wonderful razor. They're not cheap. This is the Feather, I think it's the Feather Pro. Anyway, it's definitely the Feather Professional blade. Right, let's use this dead animal and see what happens. I've got to say the feel of this brush, I've only soaked it 5 minutes, but the feel of this brush, it's quite stabby on the skin. That's why I don't like natural, apart from the cruelty side, I don't like natural brushes. I much prefer a synthetic. But I've got to say, they all do exactly the same job. They all lather up well. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and get on. I would honestly say, nah. I feel like my face has been mildly stabbed. I think the boar is another which I have experimented with, boar bristle, and that one again, you've got to beat it several times, preferably on a brick or on concrete to get the bristles to soften. I might actually have a go, as this one as a gift, I might have a go on softening the bristles on this one. But at the moment, no, it feels like someone's rubbing my face with steel wool, and I don't appreciate that. So, that's my little talk on natural bristles versus synthetic bristles. I'll go for synthetic every time, but that's just me. To say all my tests can hardly be called dogmatically perfect. They're not really anything other than my opinion. Anyway, yeah, I do. You know, that's nice. And this Mei Chang soap does cover the smell of wet dog, because this smells when it's just wetted, just like a wet dog. So let's get on. I'm going to try this wonderful, wonderful edge so kindly from Mr Madamba, and we'll see how it progresses against a feather. Yeah, as you can hear, as I hope you can hear, Yeah, that's cutting very, very nicely. The control you have over a larger razor is superb. Yeah, absolute perfection. This is on about, oh, I don't know, 3 days of stubble. Beautiful. I wouldn't want anybody to think you should start off perhaps with a top end. By the way, I wanted to show you all the, look at all that. If you're starting off with a very top end razor like this, you might be put off by the fact that it takes quite a long time to get the nice feel. But there's nothing that feels better than a Filly14. This is a Filly14 Novodur, and they're exquisite. Anyway, we all know that these cut well. Anybody that's into straight razors will know there is probably the king of the kings is the Philharmonica. However, this I think might be the king of the shavettes. Hasn't got the same feel, but you hold it exactly the same way. So if you want to start off with straight razor shaving, you put the spine onto your skin, then you tilt it slightly until there's about 1/8 of an inch gap between the skin and the blade, and only go down. And just go down with the grain of your stubble. Don't attempt to go cross grain until you've had a little bit of practice. And that is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I've got to say, it's a magnificently clever edge. Yeah. Well, as I said, this is not the edge on the Philharmonica has been put on by Jack. And that is a very fine edge and nothing against it. This one is smoother. But, and here's the big but, when you've had a shave with with an artificial machine-made edge, as on a shavette, the feeling is great, but there is an after feel, and the post shave can be a little bit, I would say, not as good. You do get slight irritation, at least I think most people do. Oh, it's very, very good edge. This is subjective, and I'm certainly not going to say that every time you use a feather you'll get a better shave. Certainly not a better shave than off a good straight razor. However, the good straight razor, you do need to get fairly regularly honed. I don't know, it depends on your bristles, how often you use it. Whereas, of course, these interchangeable blades, which come very cute, very clever little cartridge device, and they just slip in and out, straight in and out. Whereas you do have to strop, which is, of course, all part of the joy. Yeah, I've got to say, feather blades are very, very good. This is heresy, I know. I do apologise, chaps. All I'm trying to say is, if you want to do a manly hobby, if you want to go back to real world values, use a straight razor. And this is probably the easiest entry into straight razor shaving. Use a quality long blade shavette. Obviously, if you've gone straight into using a nice quality straight razor, and they don't come any nicer than these, then bless you. I would say that for a lot of people, I think I get the impression from other shavers that they're a little bit intimidated. I hate this brush, by the way, but they are a little bit intimidated by the size and sharpness of one of these. Please don't be, it's all down to muscle memory, that's all it is. Oh, this handle's better. Yeah, sorry, feather. Oh, the feather is sharper. The feather is smoother. It doesn't hold a candle to this. This is what it's all about. The other thing is, the feather is impersonal. I'm having one personalised at the moment, but the feathers are impersonal. These are deeply personal. And you can keep one of these. Oh, even listen to that cut. It's absolutely beautiful. You'll keep one of these for the rest of your life. You can pass it on to your children, you can pass it on to your grandchildren. They can pass it on. A big bladed a big bladed Filly14 will last forever. When you consider that they were virtually unchanged for over 100 years, and that the company, based in Barcelona, they originated, of course, in Germany. A lot of people don't realise that, but the steel, I'm certain it was still German. Anyway, there's 3 series of Philharmonica. The first series is Gold Dust. The second series, very nice. This is the second series. You can always tell because the second series, if I can catch that in the light, has the straight address, which of course has got the beautiful little lyre on the side, and Filharmonica, Novodur, and of course Jose Montserrat Powell. This one I'm going to actually improve because I'm like that. It's lost the gold off its central panel, and I'm going to put it back because this blade is, as all Filly14s are, it's a masterpiece. But I have to say, for smoothness and for entry level, the feather shavette is pretty good. You don't need to strop it, and you don't need to hone it. But personalisation of items surely is what life's all about. I mean, this is why people personalise their cars and whatever. You cannot beat personalisation. And that goes the same for these razors. Put a bit of suds on. There's something about the feel of a Philharmonica razor. I can't explain it. I think it's probably the difference between a Rolls Royce and say a Mercedes. Both are very good cars, but the Rolls Royce is special. And this is the Rolls Royce of razors. This is the very first time I've used it. It's come straight from America. I only very, very lightly stropped it this morning because it didn't need stropping. It passed the hanging hair test with flying colours in both directions of the hair. And of course, it's something to aspire to. If you like, as I'm sure everybody that will try will love, straight razor shaving, to get one of these and call it your own is about the nicest thing you can do. It's not that they're huge money. They're not huge money. But if you've ever had the difference between your average car and say a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, these are the Rolls Royce, the Lamborghinis, the Ferraris. And no real money, and they'll last you the rest of your life. However, there will come a time when there aren't any. Because there was some absurd, erroneous law passed in Spain, as in a lot of other countries. They thought we'd all get AIDS and die, and we'd all get horrible septicemia by using these. How do you get a germ to go into polished steel? I'd really like to know that. Anyway, in normal procedures which most barbers would use, they would very carefully usually use some sort of barbicide antiseptic on the blade between each customer. But now, of course, they're forced to use disposable blade razors. And the problem there is the Lord didn't say they should use disposable brushes. So horrible Jose, whose horrible acne face has just been shaved using a dead badger, now goes onto your face. But that's all right, because obviously dead badger bristles, they can't possibly carry germs, can they? So that's typical of your modern world, completely illogical. And it stopped most, not all, but most of the proper manufacturers of razors, sent them all bust. So these stopped being made in the very early 1980s. They're then known as the third series. And I've got a couple, nothing wrong with them. I would say a third series isn't quite as good as the first, but it's about as good as the second. It's the quality of the steel and the grind. And of course, how you treat them yourself, how you hone them, and how you strop them. This is absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to give full marks to the soap. I'll just show you one more. This is the Mei Chang. It's the gentleman's groom room. I would say highly recommend it. It's got a lovely strong aroma. I'm not good at describing aromas. It's probably got, I don't know, sandalwood and bergamot and flowers of the forest. I don't know. But I do know that's a BBS shave. So one more time, last time, 16 minutes, I won't bore you any longer. That is called a God. That is a Filly14. And this particular one has come from America, so they spread all around the world. This is the Novodur. And this will get anybody very happily into straight razor shaving because it holds just like a proper straight razor. It closes like that. You put interchangeable blades in it and it gets an absolutely spankingly smooth shave. Entry level, godlike antique. Anyway, chaps, that's enough out of me. I'm not going to bother putting a splash on because, quite honestly, that's such a smooth shave. All right, just for save it, waste a bit more of your time, I put on the alum, and as I expected, I can't even feel it. I'd like to see you try that with a so-called safety razor. I'm sure there are safety razors that don't look like Charlie Chaplin jokes, but for me, a manly razor should always be a straight razor. It takes great skill, but once you've mastered it, there is no better shave. Now, I've just wiped off the alum. For God's sake, wipe off the alum. The other little tip I keep trying to mention to people, and I forget, is once you've actually cleaned your lovely razor, do try and use a pipe cleaner to make sure there's no moisture inside the scales. Obviously, you strop, I strop about 25 laps on linen and a few laps maybe on my, well, I don't always, but let me just show you. I'm very blessed. I do have the best Cordovan strop made. That's the best you can get. Sadly, Mr Naomi's dead, so that is now a collectible item as well. But there are plenty of very fine leather strops out there, and it's a great pleasure, a great feel. Anyway, chaps, that's me done. That is my attempt to show different ways into straight razor shaving. Bye for now.